Welcome to the Unmaking Chamber. Or, as I like to view it from my vantage point up here at the vacant throne, just another day at the office. I am your host, and for this explainer, I'll be acting as the unblinking cosmic judge of your personal narrative. I'm actually thrilled to break down exactly how your messy, chaotic, kinetic noise will inevitably be laid to rest. We're going to take a deep dive into the dark, mythic archives of the Void Ledger to chart the exact industrial process of your final death. Let's get into it. The thermal volatilization of identity. Now that sounds incredibly clinical, doesn't it? Well, that's literally the whole point. See, human existence, with all its weeping, its rusted armor, all those broken vows and desperate hopes, it's ultimately viewed by the cosmos as nothing more than thermodynamic noise. It's just an inefficiency waiting to achieve a perfect, beautiful zero. So, the absolute crucial takeaway right off the bat is this. Your identity isn't some triumph to be celebrated. From where I'm sitting, it's a punishment just begging to be solved. All right, Section 1, the architects of the ledger. Let's look at who exactly runs this place. To really grasp how your narrative gets finalized, we have to talk about the administrators of the Sapphire Forge. Two ancient, monolithic entities oversee the end of your story, basically ensuring that your sorrow is meticulously accounted for. First up, we've got the Crow. If you break down the word zeitgeist philologically, it literally translates to the spirit of the time. Within the psychodrama of this universe, the Crow acts as this darkly subverted superego. Picture it perched way up atop the jagged spires of the glass library, completely silhouetted against a permanent night. It acts as a totally detached, observing consciousness, an eye that never turns away, unblinkingly documenting your descent through all these nihilistic traps with pure aesthetic detachment. It's the ultimate auditor of your Dionysian chaos. Partnering with the Crow is the custodian of the crystal ledger itself, the last thinker. This cyber-enhanced arachnid humanoid basically operates as the physical interface between your fleshy, kinetic world and the multidimensional architecture of the ledger. Using what we call prehensile mechanical grace, the last thinker's many limbs allow for incredibly precise logging. He protects the geometric symmetry of the ledger from all that external thermodynamic noise of human subjectivity. He is, essentially, the absolute guardian of stillness. Moving on to Section 2, the Black Harvest. So to enforce the mass energy balance of the cosmos, the ledger actually needs fuel, but it doesn't run on coal or electricity. Philologically speaking, metabolism implies change, or being thrown beyond. Through this process we call the Black Harvest, the Crow metabolizes the last thinker's sterile data and cynical knowledge. And this consumption isn't just eating, right? It's a profound Nietzschean concept. It is a pure, unfiltered expression of the Willesmacht, the will to power. The Crow transforms the negative energy of your discarded thoughts into the actual fuel required for its own agonizing evolutionary awakening. The Crow gathers up this concentrated despair like it's black grain. It feeds on the discarded psychic energy of those so-called higher men. It consumes the secret shame of the Pale Inquisitor, the sterile data of the last thinker, the venomous revenge of the tarantula preacher. It captures the thermodynamic noise of lives that have completely burned out, saturating the earth with the heavy, dark energy required for the next massive step of the unmaking. Because as that density of despair gets thicker and thicker, a terrifying transformation happens. The veil thins. The word manifest literally means to be made palpable by the hand. This is the ontological bridge where the Crow transitions from just being a mere spirit of the time straight into physical flesh. It becomes the physical register of the cost. The boundary between your internal psychological struggle and external cosmic reality completely shatters. The Crow of Great Evening is now a physical judge, standing right at the vacant throne, ready to oversee your final trial. Section 3, Volatility of Identity versus Absolute Stillness. Why is this cold judgment so absolutely necessary? Well, we really need to contrast the agonizing weight of your human struggle with the cold geometric symmetry of the unmade. Just look at Dionysian chaos on one side, fleshy agony, concentrated sorrow, thermodynamic noise, broken vows. Basically, a godless universe of messy biological vibration. Now, contrast that with the ultimate goal of the Sapphire Forge. Absolute stillness, a crystalline matrix, pure structural clarity, frozen gravitational waves, perfect mass energy balance. From my perspective as a cosmic judge, your biological agony is simply an inefficiency. It is a mathematical error, begging to be solved and converted into the sterile, non-reactive data of the forge. And that absolute stillness?
It's achieved in a state of hypostasis. Philologically, that means a place of resting. See, the void ledger is carved from a zero-point crystalline matrix. Unlike your fragile human books, we don't use ink here. Ink fades, right? Ink is chaotic. Instead, the ledger records your final arithmetic using frozen gravitational waves to ensure absolute cosmic permanence. It is the ultimate arbiter of peace.
Section 4. The industrial extraction. Let's get into the actual mechanics of your ending. So how exactly do we transition a wandering, weeping soul into a finalized line item? Through a deeply clinical dismantling. The workflow of the mechanical unmaking is initiated by the Jester of Sapphire Light. We've already touched on the Black Harvest, which is then followed by the Sovereign Deed, Z-Pinch Plasma Touch, and finally, Silicate Artifact Manifestation. This whole hydraulic process prioritizes one thing above all else: total efficiency yield over the performance of existence. Actually, scratch that. You're no longer performing existence at all. You're no longer a hero on a journey. You're just a mass input ready for a grand calculation. The absolute crux of this industrial extraction is the Z-Pinch Plasma Touch. This is the moment of thermal volatilization. It literally boils away your memories, your vitality, your entire identity, completely separating your narrative inertia from your biological tissue. This agonizing evolution strips your internal consciousness voltage right down to zero. And what's left behind? Just a hollow biological vessel, inhabited only by a thermodynamic echo, a distorted shadow made entirely of chaos and ink. Your essence, however, moves on down the line. Section 5, the final line item. We now arrive at the execution of the Eternal Return. The really dark subversion here is that your story is perfectly finished not through some grand, sweeping victory, but by being successfully converted into raw data. At the vacant throne, overseen by the unblinking Manifest Crow, the Sovereign Deed is executed. The Violet Gavel violently crushes together the Seeker's internal gods of memory, reason, and will. It happens with a heavy hydraulic thud of a closing ledger. It's the ultimate psychological execution, totally confirming that your human obsession with form has been completely, permanently solved. So, the big takeaway here is that your profound, epic tragedy, it's just clinical arithmetic to us. It becomes a single entry on a crystalline page. Log entry number 884,912. Just a standard record detailing your mass input and your efficiency yield. It is the profound silence of a universe that finally requires absolutely nothing more of you. Your life, your entire sprawling, messy narrative, is now a condensed autobiography of pure structural clarity. You become a high-density, polished silicate artifact, a silent blue star. Containing literally no flicker of memory, it's mechanically, prehensily slotted by the last thinker straight into the custom board recesses of the ledger's cover. You have finally achieved geometric symmetry. You have been beautifully, perfectly unmade. As we conclude our descent into the void ledger today, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. As you sit there right now listening to your own biological ticking, knowing that eventually this ledger will require nothing more of you than a perfect zero, when your thermodynamic noise inevitably fades, what line item will you become? Thank you for joining me in the unmaking chamber for this explainer. Until next time, embrace the stillness.